What's up, everybody? Anox checking in here for the Fireside Chat. This is the Fireside Chat Part 2. Part 1, I kind of just had discussed how, for a lot of us in our middle ages, how the holidays just don't feel the same anymore for whatever reason. So this just gives me a chance here to talk a little bit about life, rather than just my F-bomb sports rants or my hat reviews. Yeah, so today I wanted to talk about the topic of a midlife crisis because I've been hearing a lot of this being thrown around. People on my hat groups and people in general my age. And I just feel like I don't like that word because that word refers to something specific, like somebody who actually is in a crisis in their midlife, which means that they've hit their midlife, they're depressed, they're going into a state of depression, they're losing things around them. The world's collapsing around them. And they sort of take these outlets to their youth, like drinking again, like trying to go womanize or whatever have you, drugs, and that's not the case for a lot of us. And I would like to proudly say that. For whatever I definitely am going through something in midlife. But I've always liked hats since I was a kid, so the hats are not a midlife crisis. The hats are just some cool thing that's going on right now, where a lot of people are making really dope caps, and that's just what I always liked caps. Even when I had hair. So, caps, the beard. It's sort of just like a look, and you evolve. Over time. So anything positive, I don't see as a crisis. So for me specifically, I don't drink as much as I used to. I don't do a lot of things I used to do. So I'm focused more on fitness, family, and finance now. So if you want to call a midlife crisis me being in the gym 5 days a week, 6 days a week, that's not a midlife crisis. And a lot of you guys that are on your weight loss journeys, you're not in a midlife crisis. You're in a midlife awakening, I call it. And if you don't awaken in your midlife, you're not going to have a long life. So a midlife awakening, diet, exercise, all of a sudden you lose weight, you're looking better in certain clothes, now you're dressing differently. A lot of us, we spent our 20s and 30s, early 40s raising our kids, so maybe it's a little bit more free time now for ourselves. If you're retired, you got a lot of free time to focus on yourself. So self-love and focusing on yourself is not a crisis. Let's stop calling that a crisis. It's a midlife awakening. It's not a midlife crisis. I hate that negative spin that haters put on life and every aspect of life. So there's nothing good about doing good, But there are midlife crises. Let's not confuse that with what a lot of us are going through. Because if you're now in your mid-40s and your 50s, improved from what you were before, congratulations, because you made it to a place that God wanted you to make it to. So all he wanted was paradise for us, right? But we're fuck ups. So, because we fucked that up, that's why there's sin and suffering in this world. And I don't want to get all stupid religious or whatever, but just philosophically from that standpoint, it's not meant for us. A lot of people say, bad things are meant to happen. And then if you look at the bad things, and a lot of times, yeah, if you look at certain bad things, you could trace it to a good thing or a lesson learned. And it just seems like, and I do believe that everything was meant to be, but the bad things were not meant to be. Only the good things. Where you are now, if you're in an improved spot, that was meant to be. But God helped you get there by redirecting the path. He didn't mean the bad thing to happen. The bad thing happened as a result of sin in this world. He meant for the good things to happen. When the bad things happen, if you're a good person and he still wants you to wind up where you were meant to go, when you fucked up and made that bad decision, he knew that was a fuck up and a bad decision, and he knows your intentions and you're a good person, so he redirects the path from that point on. So you say, oh, well, if that bad thing didn't happen, this good thing wouldn't happen. So the bad thing was meant to happen. No, it wasn't. That was your fuck up. But what God did was he turned that fuck up into a lesson. He turned that fuck up into a learning experience, because he's constantly rewriting the story and redirecting the path as we keep fucking up. He's providing the alternative paths. So take that alternative path when you have the opportunity. A couple buddies of mine, we were talking the other day about, one of my buddies said that when he goes back to his old neighborhood, He takes the long way around a certain thing that reminds him of a mistake he made in his past. He doesn't pass by that place that brings up the bad memory or the mistake or whatever. He takes the long way. So that is, to me, it was so metaphorical that, we all have long ways to take, right? We all made mistakes. Some worse than others, some different than others, but we all made mistakes, and we were all given other second chances and alternative paths to take. So take that long way. Take that alternative path. You don't even have to remember the bad things, right? An old Irish proverb is never forget what's best remembered, never remember what's best forgotten. Take that long way. Why? Because God created that long way. He gave you that alternative path to go around your past and wind up where you were supposed to wind up from the beginning. And that's kind of what life's all about. Because we didn't have second chances, and we didn't have chances to become better versions of ourselves and learn from lessons. Life wouldn't kind of be, possible as far as reaching goals and becoming better. If you made one mistake and that was the end of it, man, that wouldn't be good. So just appreciate those long ways, those alternative paths to take them. And if you're in a midlife situation where you're focusing on your health, you're losing weight, you're wearing cool hats, you're coming on YouTube and talking, this is not a crisis. This is an awakening. So keep up the good work. Later.